Official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry MV. Zakharova's response to a media question regarding the Washington Post's publication. MV. Zakharova's, The Washington Post reported that an attack by Ukrainian Armed Forces, UAF, on the Kursk region of the Russian Federation disrupted indirect negotiations between Kyiv and Moscow in Qatar, which were focused on strikes against critical infrastructure. Previously, there were reports that Qatar and other Arab monarchies participated in negotiations concerning prisoner exchanges. Could you comment on whether any indirect negotiations were indeed taking place and whether they were interrupted by this attack by the Kyiv regime? Were there any chances for preparations for ceasefire negotiations through Arab intermediaries or in any other format before August 6, and how have those chances diminished since? Answer: there was nothing to disrupt because there were no such negotiations. There were no direct or indirect negotiations between Russia and the Kyiv regime regarding the security of civilian critical infrastructure, and none are currently taking place. The threat to the security of such infrastructure, including the Zaporizhzhia and now the Kursk nuclear power plants, is created solely by the actions of the UAF, with the support of the United States and other Western countries. It's symbolic, by the way, that the UAF began their raid on Kursk on August 6, the anniversary of the U.S. atomic bombing of Hiroshima, the first and only instance in human history of nuclear weapons being used against civilian populations and infrastructure. As for the Russian armed forces, they do not strike civilian objects. On the contrary, they are currently doing everything possible to protect such objects from UAF attacks, which are carried out using Western weapons, and to shield the world from a large-scale man-made disaster. Those who genuinely wish to ensure the security of critical infrastructure and avoid the catastrophic consequences of the neo-Nazi Kyiv regime's barbarism must first and foremost pressure this regime to abandon its terrorist methods of warfare, and Western countries to stop encouraging this tactic and supplying it with lethal weapons. Since April 2022, when Kyiv withdrew from negotiations with Russia, and 5 months later legally prohibited itself from conducting them, the only contacts between the Russian side and the Kyiv regime have been through intermediaries on humanitarian issues, primarily prisoner exchanges. At the same time, Kyiv has had multiple opportunities to pursue a negotiated solution to the crisis. The most recent came in June of this year, when Russian President V.V. Putin put forward a very generous peace initiative for the Ukrainian side, offering a real prospect for a ceasefire and the resolution of the conflict through political and diplomatic means. This proposal included the recognition of territorial realities, Ukraine's renunciation of NATO membership, the lifting of illegal sanctions, and the cessation of discrimination against Russian-speaking citizens. However, after August 6, the entire world saw the response of the Ukrainian nationalists to this goodwill gesture: a criminal raid on the Kursk region, their atrocities against civilians, the deliberate killing of doctors, rescuers, and volunteers, attacks on civilian vehicles, missile strikes on residential buildings, widespread looting, and even the creation of nuclear safety threats. As V.V. Putin said, there is clearly nothing to discuss with people who commit such acts.